Hello everyone, thank you for participating to this webinar about a reduced model of the motor. During these 10 first minutes, we will see the possibility of generating the lookup table using Flux and Flux motor. The first part, we will see the different possibilities available in Flux. In Flux, there is several formats that we can export, like OML file, FME block, CSV file, TXT file, and lookup table. We start by the OML file. Since several versions of the Flux, this feature is available directly in the interface. It is available also for 2D, SKU, and 3D modules. To generate this OML file, a parameterized scenario must be solved. Once the project is solved, to generate the export in Flux, there are some steps that the user should follow. The first one, the solve the Flux project. Go in the menu Data Exchange, click on Export Data Table. A new window will be opened. We select the format of the file that you want to export, to activate, or compose. We select also the folder where the file will be saved. We select the input and output parameters in the list. And as a last step, we choose the values, the type of the values to export. Once this is done, now we will see the different steps to use this file inside Activate and Compose. We start by Activate. In Activate, the file or the OML file and Activate project should be in the same folder. Inside Activate, in the menu diagram Home, you choose the Context tab. You provide the name of the file created by Flux, and as a last step, you check if the variables were located correctly. Inside Compose, there is directly a possibility to open this OML file without any additional steps. And the second possibility is to export the FME block. This feature is also available in Flux since several versions. It is available on 2D, SKU, and 3D modules. To generate the FME block, a parameterized scenario must be solved. Once the Flux project is solved, to generate the FME block, we go to the Data Exchange. We select directly the Export FME block. A new window will be opened. In this window, you will provide the name of the block, the path to the folder in which Flux will create the FME block. You choose the input in the block in the parameter of the block in the parameter list. We chose also the output of the block among the input-output parameters and the sensors. In this next slide, an example application of the FME block. Inside Activate, you have your model. You create the blocks for FME. You edit the FME block. You load directly the file that you have created previously in Flux, and you validate. This is just to show you the use of this FME block. The latest way to create a lookup table is to use a macro. The goal is this macro is to create a lookup table from a transient application or project. The lookup table that we get from this macro are for Flux in DQ axis, the inductance in DQ axis, the torque also. All these performances are function of the current in DQ axis and the rotor position. There are three macros available currently in Flux. One for 2D, one for 3D, and one for the SKU. All these macros, as mentioned previously, the aim is to create a lookup table of the Flux in DQ axis, inductance DQ axis, the torque as function of the position, and the current in DQ axis. Just here to give you small details about the principle of this macro. From a transient project, we load this macro, we run the macro behind, we create a main-to-static application or project, and from this one we can get all these maps. There is a possibility also to write the results as a math file, and this mat file can be read by Flux activate PCM. The goal of this macro is to make system analysis of the e-motor easier. In this slide, we will see the steps that the user follow to use this macro inside Flux. Once your project is solved in a magnetic transient project, you load the macro, you run the macro. When you run the macro, there is some data and some data that you need to put to run this macro. In this last slide, we will see some results that we can get using this macro. In this case, we have some maps of the flux in D and Q axis and the torque. One recommendation when you try to use this macro, it's really recommended to use a parallel computing. Why? Because this leads to decrease the time and correct and decrease the time computation. This is about the different possibilities to export OML, FMU, and create a lookup table from Flux. Now for the next step, we will see the different possibilities also inside the Flux motor to create this lookup table. In Flux motor, the user have a possibility also to export directly a lookup table. This lookup table can be used by Altair Flux, Altair Activate and Compose. The goal also, as mentioned initially for the case of Flux, is to use or to simplify the motor, to use it inside the system level, and to make more easier the analysis of the motor considering the system or the control. In Flux motor, if the user wants to export lookup table, he open Flux motor or motor factory. From motor factory, he select the export area, and from the export area, he has directly access to the lookup. He select the option lookup table export, and from this one, he can export a different the data or the lookup table that he wants for this motor. Now, to export this lookup table, there are some steps that the user should follow. The first one is the test selection. One test can be selected currently is the maps from the characterization model motor. You have the possibility to select the maps. The test configuration as a second step. For this one, the user will define the working condition of the motor. The third step is the export information. For this export information, also there are some steps inside. The first one is the definition of the name of the lookup table. Also, there is a possibility to select the format. Currently, we have a FMU block dedicated to activate and PCM. A FMU block generic, and also there is a possibility to generate or to export a mat file. Once this is done, the user validate and export. Click to export this lookup table. Just here some details about the different format that we have currently available in Flux motor. The first one, FMU format. There is two FMU format. The first one is dedicated to activate and PCM, and the second format is generic, compatible with other system simulation tools. The second possibility is to generate directly a mat format or mat file. This mat file can be implemented in the environment like PCM and PCM Activate or Compose. The latest information that I want to share with you is about the improvement of the export system lookup table inside the Flux motor. With the latest version, there is another possibility to consider the rotor position or the rotor dependency. As you can see here from the test configuration, from the inputs, there is a possibility to consider the rotor position. The goal is to make more accurate results. This is the possibility to create or to generate a lookup table from Flux motor. Thank you for your attention.